Judge Frank Caprio died on August 20, 2025, at the age of 88 after a long battle with pancreatic cancer. His passing ended a remarkable life defined by his devotion to law, public service, and compassion for people from every walk of life. Known worldwide as America's nicest judge, Caprio's approach to justice and his career on the bench made him a household name, far beyond the city of Providence where he served for decades. His death brought an outpouring of tributes from Rhode Island officials, national figures, and ordinary citizens across the globe who had been moved by his courtroom demeanor and his humanity. Today, Providence gathered to say goodbye. The funeral mass was held at the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul at 10 o'clock in the morning. The service was presided over by church leaders and attended by family, friends, colleagues, and thousands of mourners. For those unable to attend, the service was live-streamed on his social media platforms, allowing supporters from all over the world to take part in the farewell. A day earlier, public visitation was held at the Rhode Island Convention Center, Hall A, where lines of people stretched through the building. The public viewing lasted from 3 to 7 in the afternoon and was arranged so that anyone who wished could personally pay their respects. Complimentary parking was offered to accommodate the large crowds. Attendees included residents of Providence, public officials, and visitors who traveled from distant states and countries, including some from as far away as the Philippines. The service at the cathedral included readings, prayers, and eulogies that highlighted Judge Caprio's long life of service. His son David spoke for the family, thanking everyone who had offered condolences. He emphasized that the love shown in recent days had helped the family endure the difficult moment. His words carried the message that his father's life was larger than any one person's grief because it touched millions of people worldwide. His wife, Joyce, who had been by his side for nearly 6 decades, attended surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Joyce's presence was a reminder of the private devotion behind the public figure, and although she did not deliver remarks to the media, reports confirmed that she worked with the family to arrange the funeral and received the condolences of mourners who expressed admiration for her strength. The funeral procession left the cathedral around 11:30 in the morning. It traveled along Atwells Avenue, which passes through Federal Hill, the neighborhood where Caprio grew up in an Italian immigrant family. The route was chosen deliberately to honor his origins and to allow the community to say goodbye. People lined the streets as the hearse passed, some holding flags, others applauding quietly, and many standing in silence. Pallbearers carried his casket, while an extensive list of honorary pallbearers reflected the breadth of his impact. Honorary pallbearers included Rhode Island mayors, retired judges, athletes, entertainers, and family friends. Among them were Paula Abdul, who had befriended Caprio after appearing on his program, as well as former Providence College basketball players Ernie DiGregorio and Kevin Stackhouse. The mix of figures from civic life, law, sports, and entertainment showed the extraordinary reach of Caprio's influence. Government offices also marked the day. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee called Caprio a Rhode Island treasure and ordered flags at half-staff across the state. The Rhode Island judiciary suspended its regular schedule so that judges and court employees could attend the funeral. It was an unusual step, but one that reflected the special place Caprio held within the judicial community. Frank Caprio's journey to the bench began with humble beginnings. Born in 1936, he grew up in the Federal Hill section of Providence as the son of Italian immigrants Antonio and Filomena Caprio. His father worked as a milkman, and Caprio often recalled accompanying him on his morning routes. It was during those early experiences that he said he learned the importance of compassion. His father never cut off deliveries to families who could not pay, a lesson in mercy that shaped his understanding of fairness. Caprio attended Providence public schools and later studied at Providence College. He pursued law at Suffolk University Law School in Boston, earning his degree while supporting himself by teaching history at Hope High School in Providence and coaching football. His public service began early. He served on the Providence City Council in the 1960s and was later appointed to the Rhode Island Board of Governors for higher education, where he advocated for accessible education. His legal career grew steadily, and in 1985 he was appointed Chief Judge of the Providence Municipal Court. He would hold that position for nearly 4 decades, earning re-election 5 times. In this role, he presided primarily over cases involving parking tickets, traffic violations, and minor infractions. But his treatment of those cases made him a national figure. Caprio first allowed cameras into his courtroom in the 1990s for a local television program. The show, called Caught in Providence, captured real interactions in the courtroom and soon developed a loyal following. The format remained modest for years until, in 2018, it was picked up for national syndication. From there it spread worldwide. Through broadcast and, most significantly, through social media clips, his cases were often simple. But his approach was what stood out. He was known for asking children to help him decide their parents' cases, for listening patiently to defendants' stories, and for showing leniency when people faced genuine hardship. Clips of him forgiving fines for a grieving mother, encouraging struggling parents, and joking warmly with children were viewed more than 1 billion times online. This exposure transformed Caprio into more than a local judge. He became a symbol of compassionate justice. He was profiled by national and international media and earned a Daytime Emmy nomination for his television work, but those who knew him emphasized that his public persona was no act. Colleagues recalled that he treated defendants with kindness even off camera, and that his courtroom was truly an extension of his personality. In addition to his judicial duties, Caprio was active in philanthropy and education. He established scholarships in his father's name at Providence College to support students from working-class backgrounds. He also served on the board of several organizations and remained deeply engaged in civic life. Caprio retired from the bench in 2023, closing a chapter of active judicial service, but continuing to inspire through public speaking and his book, Compassion in Court: Life-Changing Stories from America's Nicest Judge, published in 2025. In interviews promoting the book, he reiterated his belief that the justice system should leave people feeling respected rather than alienated. He explained that for many people, appearing in his courtroom was their only direct experience with government, and he wanted them to see compassion alongside authority. His final months were marked by illness. He revealed his pancreatic cancer diagnosis publicly in December 2023, a move that prompted widespread messages of support. He underwent treatment, completing his last radiation session in May 2024. In the summer of 2025, his health declined, and he posted a heartfelt video from his hospital bed asking the public to keep him in their prayers. The video spread widely, with thousands responding with messages of love. He died peacefully on August 20th, 2025. Surrounded by his family, the tributes that followed were vast. Social media platforms filled with clips of his most famous moments, and hashtags honoring his name trended in multiple countries. Fans shared personal reflections, including how watching his courtroom videos gave them hope during difficult times. Legal professionals acknowledged that he had become a model for humanizing the judicial process. Former students he had taught in the 1960s sent messages recalling his encouragement. Public officials described him as a figure who made Rhode Island proud. At his funeral, these sentiments converged. Inside the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul, flowers lined the altar, many accompanied by handwritten notes. Some were from local residents whose cases he had presided over decades earlier, while others were from admirers who had never met him but felt they had through his television show. The atmosphere was one of solemnity, but also gratitude. At the conclusion of the service, as the casket was carried out, some mourners applauded gently while church bells rang, a spontaneous gesture of appreciation for a life lived in service. Caprio is survived by his wife, Joyce, 5 children, 7 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. His family emphasized that while they were mourning a husband, father, and grandfather, they were comforted by knowing how many others considered him family in spirit. His legacy will live on not only in recorded clips of his courtroom, but also in the example he set for judges and public officials everywhere. The story of Judge Frank Caprio is one of local roots and global reach. He began in a working-class neighborhood of Providence, rose to become chief judge of the city's municipal court, and through empathy and kindness became an international symbol of fairness. His career demonstrated that authority does not require harshness, and that law can be practiced with humanity. Today's funeral was both an end and a reminder. It ended the earthly presence of a man whose smile and voice had comforted millions, but it reminded all who gathered, whether in person or online, that his values endure. He once said he did not aim to change the world but simply to do his part, to show compassion within his courtroom. In doing so, he ended up changing how millions viewed justice itself. As Rhode Island lowered its flags and the cathedral filled with mourners, the measure of his life was clear. He was not only a judge or a television figure, he was a husband, father, educator, public servant, and neighbor whose kindness crossed boundaries. The crowds at his visitation, the solemnity of the funeral mass, the diversity of pallbearers and honorary pallbearers, and the heartfelt tributes from around the world reflected the same truth. Judge Frank Caprio's death closed a personal story but opened a lasting legacy. His life proved that even in the smallest courtroom, humanity can reach the largest audience.